Hello and welcome to My Time TV. This is a new program called Community TV with Adaire. Welcome you all. I've had some interesting times trying to program this TV show, and it's been a bit of a journey so far, and it's getting very, very exciting. I'm really actually enjoying the ride, and I'm learning so much. We're actually doing what we call LOL, which is learning out loud. And that means that what we're doing is actually learning on the job. So we don't have to get everything perfect before we start, as long as we start. And I've started, and there's a few other people who have started with me, and it's learning as you go. The reason I'm saying this is because I have had a guest speaker scheduled for today who actually is unable to join us. And I've just realized as I was going live that below here, I have put a link for a web page for readings. And because the lovely girl, Kel, who is now going to join us next week, is unable to be here. And I am going to, and I've already put a link to her page in the comment section below. So I will say just that's funny. I put the wrong page in there too. We've got Meg Grenell's page advertising Kel Stein. So anyway, if you want to find out what learning out loud looks like, just check out the comments below. Excuse me. Go and check out their pages. There's Karmacy Corner and Karmacy Corner. And now I'm just getting another call from somebody who's supposed to be coming on a show that's after this show. It's like, I love it. Fun and games. I think this must have been a bit what it was like when TV first started back in the 50s, and when you were presenting a live show and you had really no control over external factors and things that happened. It's if you're worried about not being able to cope with things, coping with the unexpected and rolling with the punches, it's a pretty scary place to be. And I think it certainly was like that for me when I first started, and now I've just learned to laugh at myself. So I loll and then I lol. So I laugh out loud, then I learn out loud. My Time TV has been set up specifically for you. And by that I mean I have a vision to provide a forum and an opportunity for people who are perhaps business owners, or even if they're not business owners, people with a message that they want to share with the general community. Now, it could be about anything. It's something that one criteria that it must meet is that it must add value to people who are watching and who are engaging in the show. So that is I lied. There's two criteria. The other criteria is that there are no sales. So there might be offers. If I do have business people on, there will be offers, but it's not meant to be anything that's supposed to be the salesy or like infomercial stuff like that, because that just makes me want to gag. So I'm really just going, we want to share messages. We want to really, at the end of the day, have whoever is here and whoever joins us to come away from watching this program being a little bit more enriched, or have a bit more knowledge, or even if they want to be entertained, to have a bit of a laugh, depending on who we've got on the show today. But there could be, the topics could range from anything from, I've got a few things here that I've written down. It could be health, it could be spirituality, that's what we're talking about today, money, relationships, gardening, cooking, fitness, anything that affects us in our day-to-day lives, and anything that is going to help us sharpen our, what we do, and learn a little bit more, even get different perspective on what we're currently doing, stuff that might help us level up and do things a little bit better, which is a beautiful segue into the special guest today. And I'm absolutely so grateful that Kiri Devi is able to join me today because I did have the lovely Kel Stein, and she was advertised, but she is having some technical issues today, and they couldn't be resolved in time. So what we're doing is she'll be joining us next week, and I'm still excited about that. And I think Kel's got some, really, really cool stuff to share, and I'm looking forward to talking to her. And I'm absolutely grateful for Kiri Devi for jumping in at short notice. And I think this is really, really awesome, and it's almost serendipitous because I actually met Kiri Devi many years ago at a NLP workshop run by a mutual friend, Colin Slater, and we'd kept in touch sort of on and off over the years, probably 5 or 6 years ago now. And we were both when we both met, and I hope you don't mind me, I've got Kiri Devi's actually sitting in the lobby down here, so I can see her, but you can't. So I hope you don't mind me sharing a little bit about that. Just nod if it's okay. Yeah, thumbs up. We met about 5, probably 6 years ago, maybe even 7 years ago. Actually, I think it was longer now I think about it, possibly even 8, because I know that I had just come out of a toxic environment and had a relationship breakdown, and we were absolutely in a very, like, our lives were like parallel, and it's been pretty amazing over the last, I reckon, probably 8 years to catch up with Kiri Devi, to be guided by some of the things that she's doing. She was actually instrumental in helping me have some amazing breakthroughs with some spiritual and energy work, that I had some massive, massive blocks. And I am so, so grateful that I had no idea at the time what Kiri Devi was talking about, but I just knew in my heart that there was something that she was saying that I had to follow. And I went to this workshop that she was talking about, and I had some amazing breakthroughs. And there's been many more since then, but I think that I can track back to the point of having the most significant breakthroughs that I had were through my interactions with Kiri Devi. Her learnings and her journey has been such an incredibly powerful one. I want to bring her in. She's actually written about her journey, and she's developed a program. It's called Understanding for Peace and Choosing to Change. Seven steps to empowerment. Now, if I've got that wrong, you have to correct me, and because I've got a couple of titles down there, but it's all about choosing to change. So I'm going to bring Kiri Devi in, and she's going to share with you the 7 steps, and then maybe a little bit about a few of them, because we've got half an hour, and that time goes really, really fast. So on that note, 2, 1, and welcome, Kiri Devi. How are you?
Hello, and thank you, Adaire, for that lovely introduction.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It has. I think it would have been about 8 years ago.
It would have been. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And when we met, I think I was quite astounded that we were at a similar place in our lives.
So that might be a good point for me to actually share a little bit about myself.
Please do.
And
yes.
the reason why I was at that place at that time. I had been a quite successful deputy principal and teacher in junior primary and primary schools for actually almost 40 years. And at that time, I was offered a package, and I was at the age of retirement, and I thought, oh, okay, it was a really difficult class. My marriage was in a really difficult space, and so I accepted. And so shortly after that, though, my marriage crumbled, and then my 2 youngest children, I have 3 children, they moved out they'd moved out of the house. So I found myself going from a deputy principal in the schools with a purpose and a reason for kind of contributing to schools and children and parents, to losing my identity as a professional person with a steady income, losing my identity as a wife, and losing my identity as a hands-on mother. And it was a journey of, it was one of those, like you say, you get touched by a feather and then you get hit with a brick and then you get a Mack truck. Well, it was one of those Mack truck moments where I had to really look deeply at how I had created these things in my life. And so that's what it became, a journey of healing of my own woundedness, and understanding for peace has been the result of, well, yes, that was late 2009, so eight years.
So that's,
yeah, during
I absolutely can relate to that, being touched by a feather, hit by a brick, and then have a house drop on your head. And for me, it was 2009 as well. And so I think it is quite an amazing. I don't think that anything is a coincidence. And I do think not quite a coincidence.
No, not quite 9 years.
Okay.
8 years. Yeah, round about that space anyway.
Yeah. So I think it's. I think that the learning and like you said, how we come through and can when you're right at the very beginning. How did you like that, Tori? And I know that I felt like I didn't know which way was up. I didn't, and like you, lost my the steady, stable income, and it was a significant income as well, and the whole sense of identity. I didn't have the children moving out. The eldest kids had already gone, but it was still that whole, just feeling of complete bewilderness, I guess, and sort of fell in a bit of a hole. So if you can share a little bit about your journey and a bit more about that, and how the understanding for peace and the 7 steps has come about, that'd be awesome.
Well, initially, I knew that thought is creative. I'd done quite a bit of work around that, but I never fully realized how true that is, that our thoughts create our reality. And so initially I just started writing. I journaled a lot, and I also write poetry, so I was writing poems. And initially, as I journaled, I started to find my actually deeper thoughts that I'd suppressed, that because of my conditioning and my upbringing, weren't really acceptable thoughts to have. So I'd suppress them, but they were still there. And so allowing that without judgment to come out. And that was a journey of going deeper into understanding how powerful our thoughts and our thinking is. And then also how powerful our subconscious thoughts are, the ones that we're not actually conscious and aware of. But one of my learnings from rebirthing training many years before had been that results are your guru. So if you look at your life, then the results are actually showing you what your thoughts are. And that was a bit confronting. But so that also led into a journey of understanding the way the brain works, and the inner child, the emotional child. And you mentioned courses I was doing. Shanti Mission was one of those. Authentic Education has been another journey with them. A whole number of different mentors that I was just so blessed to come across and sort out. And then I realized that through working with those different groups and studying with those different groups, the power of forgiveness, and that was the second step. And again, within that, I found about 4 very effective forgiveness strategies. And we don't forgive for the other person, that may be, but we forgive to set ourselves free.
Yeah, and that's really powerful. Yeah.
Until we can find that forgiveness and forgiving ourselves, because everyone is just doing the best that they know how.
Exactly.
With the belief systems and the conditioning, both from within the family patterns, but also societal schools, that constantly try to mold us into how they want us to be, rather than actually discovering the authentic and true self.
Who we are. So your 4 strategies, I go 4 strategies. Talking to an ex-school teacher, I should be holding up the right number of fingers, shouldn't I? 4 strategies for forgiveness. So is one of them forgiving for ourselves?
Oh, they're all about forgiving. They're all about forgiving for ourselves.
Do we have time to have a quick touch on each of those, or?
There's a. Oh, very quickly, you may have heard of Ho'oponopono.
Yes.
Which is a forgiveness strategy.
For the ones who may watch this back, or who haven't heard of that, could you maybe just very, very quickly?
It's a very short and powerful. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I may not have that in the right order there. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. There's one more step in there, which has just gone from my mind at the moment.
That's okay. That comes out of the tribes in Hawaii.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So, that's powerful stuff. So is that like a mantra?
Yes.
That we say. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And then there's a radical forgiveness, which is a process of Colin Tipping that he developed. And I actually have a board game of his that I intend to have forgiveness suppers with, which is played, and that goes through 4 stages of forgiveness, and there's not enough time to delve into that. Diane McCann, who is a local.
Yes, I know Diane. Yes.
She's absolutely amazing, and was the reason for the beginning of my journey many, many years ago. And she has a really great strategy of 70 times 21 days for each of the people in your life that you feel like you need to forgive. So it might be your mother, your father, your doctor, your teacher, whatever. And that's another really powerful strategy. And then Shanti Mission have their way of releasing and forgiving. So a number of strategies that are there. And
that's awesome. So that's step 2 in the 7 steps.
Yeah. Step 3 is discovering self-love and self-care. And that can be as basic as just what you eat, drinking enough water, getting exercise, enough sleep, meditations, nurturing yourself, loving. doing the things that you love, and really honoring that self-care, self-nurturing, self-love. And it's not in a way of you know, oh, self-love, like look at me, look at me. It's a genuine, authentic love of who you are. And we're all unique and born lovable, and we make up stories about ourselves from our experiences that are not true, but it seems as if they're true. And the truth is, everyone is lovable, worthy, and beautiful in their own unique way, and can make their own contribution. So that was the third step. Fourth step was authentic power. And I had come from quite a codependency and quite abusive situation. And that for me has been one of the biggest challenges of setting boundaries and saying no to others so that you can say yes to yourself. And again, the sense of feeling worthy, that you have a right, and actually it helps others to grow and learn if you can set boundaries and do that, but to do that in a way that is respectful and honouring of the other person. So that brings in a lot of, you know, conflict resolution, restorative justice, non-violent communication strategies, and those kinds of things. Then finding joy, which is just really about what lights you up.
So is that 5?
That's 5. Numbers. So what lights you up? If it's dancing, go dance some more. If it's, you know, flowers, buy some more for yourself. If it's whatever, if it's going hiking or bike riding or whatever that brings you joy, spending time in nature. It's different for everyone because, as I said before, everyone is unique and worthy. And so the next one was about finding fulfillment.
So step 6.
Step 6.
Yeah.
Finding fulfillment, which is around actually giving back and contributing, being of service to others.
Yeah.
From a space of authenticity, uniqueness, and from a space of just knowing that you have a purpose in life, that life is not meaningless, that there's a purpose and a meaning to it. And for me, that purpose and meaning is to help people understand and find peace, and through individual peace, I believe that is the way that we will bring peace to the world, one person at a time. And we all have a part to play in that. And, you know, each person is a unique and valuable individual in that process of peace. When you see somebody who is hurting, that is an opportunity for us to show compassion. When, you know, when we see something that is perhaps challenging, that is a chance for us to be, and I like to use the term a spiritual warrior, in that nothing changes unless we truly face the truth, and then can be courageous enough to say, I know that you are hurting just like I am hurting, and we will not contribute to that hurt, but we will find a way of solving and working that hurt. And there's a beautiful saying from, I think it's the Course of Miracles, that all behavior is either a call for love or an extension of love. So when we discover, and this kind of goes back to the forgiveness, which is a really pivotal point in changing, in choosing to change.
Yeah.
When we understand behavior from the perspective of that's either a call for love or an extension of love, then we can understand that there's woundedness. There's woundedness in both. And if we can extend love, that is a way of healing the woundedness. So,
absolutely. And so there was seven
steps.
Yes, 7 steps. And you've covered them. Did I miss the last one? Or so,
peace.
Peace was the last one. Yeah, I was going. I was getting into what you're saying, and I forgot to go like this to remind myself. But and you've got that beautiful dove behind you. That's a great reminder of peace. It's a great sign of peace, which is the dove. So I think that's an amazingly powerful combination of what you put together and sort of the program when it's launched. Do you have a sort of launch date or a time when you'd like to, or am I?
Not really. It's a work in progress.
Yes.
And before I do say that, do go on with that. I do need to say that often when you begin on this path, anything but love will come up to be healed, and that can be challenging because that we have to, in some form, shape, heal our own woundings. So that we can then come from a space of understanding and compassion. And so anything that is not love comes up, and it's like, I thought I dealt with this.
Yeah.
Here's a deeper layer. And I used to get very frustrated with it. Now I can recognize, this is actually a gift in strange wrapping paper, to term from Dr. Darren Wiesman and the Lifeline, that problems and issues are a gift in strange wrapping paper. And it's like, thank you. This is coming up to inform where I need to heal myself. And so it's an ongoing journey, you know.
And what I found is you can look, if you know to look for it, and when it comes up, you can move through it faster. You don't have to be in that space, because and then you can look for the learnings, the positive learnings and the gifts.
Absolutely.
And you do get better at that with practice. It's like a muscle, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You exercise that muscle, and I've noticed myself if I don't make those sort of the meditation and the tapping into the meaningful stuff and spending time thinking about this, if I get too caught up in the day-to-day stuff, which is so easy to do, that muscle does atrophy, and you start up the old stuff. Starts creeping back in. It's like, where did that come from? I thought I dealt with that, so it's probably
true.
Another way of Go on.
That would be another thing that I've discovered, that it's not enough to know something. We actually have to, knowing doesn't necessarily change things. Doing and being does. And as you said, it takes practice, and like learning to ride a bike, you get on and you fall off, learn some more, get a bit more balance. And like Gandhi's famous quote, "We must be the change we want to see in the world."
Absolutely.
And if we want more love, we must be more love. And if we want more justice, we must be more just. And if we want more compassion, we must be more compassionate. And if we want more joy, we must be more joy.
More joy.
And if we want more peace, we must be more peaceful. So it's not just about knowing and understanding. It's actually living it, being it, and doing it. And that takes, as you said, that takes practice. It does.
It takes practice, and it takes, I think, it takes a community to do it. Even though it's individual, I find that when I lose touch with beautiful people like yourself, and it is hard to keep that momentum going by yourself. So being connected into a community is, I think, really, really valuable. And
absolutely.
And we were just talking before we started broadcasting about that, and I was saying I was doing some coaching and learning. It's similar stuff, but it's couched quite differently. But at the crux of it all, it's all about what you're talking about. And I'm really keen to do your program when you do launch it, because I think that that you've got some brilliant stuff there, and it will keep elevating people. And it's not about other people at all. About where they're at doesn't really matter. It's about elevating yourself, and you find that other people automatically elevate when you do. It's just that was sort of reinforced to me yesterday, and I'm thinking, wow, that's, I just love being in that space. And sometimes when you slip out of that space and forget that that space exists, it's just, I really appreciate you coming along today and hopping on here at a nanoseconds notice, because that is brilliant, because it's a message for me as well. And I feel like, we'll leave this conversation in a really great space. So I really appreciate that. We're out of time. I do want to say that you have been co-author in a book called A Journey to Riches, Making Changes. There it is, beautiful in all its glory. And I've popped a link, it's a clickable link just below here. If you click on that link, it will take you to Amazon, and you can pick it up on a paperback for $7.83, and Kindle it's $1. So that I'll grab that one, for sure. That's going on my Kindle.
And it's also available in hard copy here locally in the Theosophical Bookshop, and that my own journey is there's quite a bit of my poetry in that journey as well.
Brilliant. So the Theosophical Society Bookshop is on South Terrace in Adelaide. Shout out to you guys, and because we've got people who sort of will join us here from all over the world. So so that's in Adelaide. Who knows, it could be in other bookshops right around the world at some point too, so if it's not already. So Kiri Devi, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing the 7 steps to choosing change for understanding for peace, and I got that totally back to front. I do truly appreciate that. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you, Adaire, for the opportunity, and it certainly was a on your feet instant learning how to
LOL.
LOL. Yeah,
learning out loud.
Learning out loud.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you, and I'll catch up with you again soon.
We will. And that was Kiri Devi, who joined us to talk about her experience and her new program that she is launching in the not too distant future at some point. Understanding for Peace, Choosing to Change, 7 Steps to Becoming Empowered. Brilliant, brilliant. Reminder that next week, Kelly Stein is going to join us, having had her tech issues all sorted out. And she will be she'll be talking about her experiences and what she does as a clairvoyant and psychic medium. She will be giving away a free reading if you are present on the show, on the broadcast. She'll be doing at least one free reading for people. She's also a paranormal investigator for haunted buildings and townships around Adelaide and South Australia. So I'm really looking forward to speaking to Kelly as well. So next week at 2 o'clock on Wednesday for Community TV with Adaire. I'll see you then. Bye for now.